Vishnu Bhakti Devi Sachivajanamo Namaha. Vrindai Tulsi Devaya Priya Keshava Shicha Vishnu Bhakti Devi Sachivajanamo Namaha.
Madhav, Madhav. Madhav, 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 Madhav. Nitya Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Koti Chandra Jini Madara
Shiva Baho Kote Chandradini Varana Ujjwala.
Koti Chandra Jini Madara
Shiva Baho Kote Chandradini Varana Ujjwala. Mala de Sevana Mala Kore Jala Mala Mala de Sevana Mala Kore Jala Mala. Shiva Shiva Sukana Radha Preme Gada Gada Shiva 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 Sukana Radha Preme Gada Gada Devi Noda Devi Gorara Samara Gorara Samara Jaya Gaurani Dai Gaurani Dai Gaurani Dai Jai Gaurani Dai Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaur Hari Bol.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. फॉलो करेंगे
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi
Jaya Shri Krishna కొంచెం దారి చేస్తా దారి చేస్తా మీరు పెట్టండి వెనక్కి రాకుండా ఉంటే చాలు అక్కడ పెడదాం
प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
अंदर जाओ अंदर जाओ
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
आता समोर जात तू रे
Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Swari Thakur ki Guru Ram Pata ki Ramacharya Shri Radha Thakur ki Shri Vishnu Chaitanya Shri Nanda Shri Advaita Radha Shri Rasa Guru Bhakti ki Shri Radha Krishna Gopina Shan Kudarak Giri Govaran ki Ram Dam ki Jodam ki Jagannath Puri ki Tulsi Devi ki Bhakti Devi ki, Swami Bhakti ki, Gopamananda. All glory to this Son. Glory to this Son. Glory to this Son. Glory to Shri Guru and Shri Radha.
Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, everyone please be seated. There will be class on Madhav.
Radha Madhava.
Please don't touch the food.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
Nandalal Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. His Holiness Trikram Swami Maharaj ki. Hare Krishna. His Holiness Trikram Swami Maharaj was born in 1941. Maharaj is a staunch sannyasi for more than 51 years. One of the senior leaders and ISKCON Guru was initiated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in 1969 and given sannyasa initiation in 1971. Maharaj is currently the senior most sannyasi, 52nd year and only and next to His Holiness Jabatak Swami Maharaj. With just one instruction from His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, based on a letter dated March 7, 1970, Los Angeles, USA, Maharaj has willingly accepted renounced order of life and dedicated whole life for the service of Srila Prabhupada. During Srila Prabhupada's presence on this planet, Maharaj was regularly assigned by His Divine Grace to spread Krishna consciousness in various countries worldwide, such as United States of America, London, Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, and India. Maharaj went to London temple on the instruction of Srila Prabhupada as a senior brahmachari devotee to train and maintain the temple. This was the first temple where the famous three couples started. And Maharaj has served as the temple president at various centers and also is a pioneer in opening and expanding these centers, helping in preaching about Krishna consciousness. Maharaj served as a co-director of Mayapur, along with His Holiness Jabatak Swami Maharaj. Maharaj served as lead role in Delhi and as the temple president in Chandigarh. Srila Prabhupada used to give assembly every year personally to Maharaj, and Maharaj would directly report to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada personally said about him, he will always go wherever I send him. His Holiness is well known for his loyalty and obedience to Srila Prabhupada's instructions, teachings, mood and mission. Maharaj has rendered so many personal services as having and giving massages to Srila Prabhupada regularly. After Srila Prabhupada's departure, His Holiness ensured that Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder of ISKCON would not be compromised by playing an active role in the Guru reform movement. Later on, His Holiness led preaching in Orlando in the capacity of the temple president and is actively preaching in parts of Eastern Europe such as Poland, Ukraine, Belarus, Lithuania, Latvia and the Czech Republic. Maharaj has been accepting disciples on behalf of his spiritual master and ISKCON since 1987 and is well known for ecstatic kirtans, bhajans and profound lectures with practical applications as per the teachings and instructions of Srila Prabhupada. And one more thing, while Maharaj was in Hong Kong and particularly in Japan, every day Maharaj used to go out for 6 to 8 hours and distribute hundreds of Srila Prabhupada's books and BTG magazines. His Holiness Trivikram Swami Maharaj coming to ISKCON Attapur by loudly chanting one time Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Anyone distributed books today, Maharaj is asking?
Huh? Nobody? Yeah.
We have Sangeetan bus, we have Maharaj to distribute.
This is a marathon. I thought everybody would be up. Omijana Timinandasya Janagana Salakayam Sakshisminikamena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mahavishta Apitamena Pujare Sayam Uttara Maya Jadati Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Gaura Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. We all know how. We all know how Prabhupada was, you can say, centered around his books. He spent so much hours every day giving us these elaborate purports and translating it from Sanskrit. Oh, I don't have to wait, huh? Everybody knows English? Everybody? Yes. That lady. Okay, because I'm used to preaching in the European, like Eastern Europe, so I always have to stop and then someone translates. So we need to do that. What's the other language here? Telugu? Hindi. Hindi nahi janta. Okay, so it's true that Prabhupada was very concerned that we understand his books. I remember once in the early days, there was a group of devotees there, and Prabhupada asked each one to stand up and speak 5 minutes about his ego, what they have learned. And the devotees did that. But one devotee couldn't. He said, no, I'm not. Prabhupada said, you've been here for 1 year, you haven't learned, you can't speak for 5 minutes. So Prabhupada wanted us to know this philosophy. We should know the basic principles we can speak for a few minutes. People can ask us, oh, you're a Hare Krishna? Or you go to Hare Krishna temple? What do they teach? You know, oh, I don't know. No, we should learn basic things. God is great, his name is Krishna. Like there are 5 subjects that are described in the Bhagavad Gita. The Lord, the living entity, material nature, time, and karma. So we should know something about that. Krishna says, time I am. Everybody knows that time is something amazing, right? It's going by. There's the clock on the wall. 39 seconds, 38 seconds, 40 seconds. It's going, it's running through our hand. You can't stop it. Well, what is the meaning of this whole creation? So these are good questions we should ask. We should become inquisitive. Tata Brahma Jigyasa has mentioned that in this human form especially, we should inquire. Who am I? What is the meaning of life? What happens to me when I die? Why is there so much suffering? I just came in the car. Every time I get in a car here, it's like I see so much suffering. People trying to get ahead and cutting in. The suffering is right there for everybody to see. One person cuts off another person. So this is the material world. Even they found in the jungle, like an Amazon jungle. The trees are competing with each other, which will get to the top to get the sun. Everything is competition here, based on false ego. This is why we're in the material world. So we should have some inquiry. We should wonder why there's so much war and so much quarreling. Even in the family, there's quarreling. Why is that? So the answer is very simple, because of false ego. We want to put ourselves in the center. The child is born with that mood. Like get on a plane with 50 people, 100 people. The child doesn't care. If he feels like screaming, he's going to scream. You can't say, no, big, nah! Because this is why. Because they think of themselves. And then we have to civilize that. You have to stop hitting your brother. You can't do that. The mothers have to be the first guru. They have to train the children. Be a little civilized. Don't become angry unnecessarily. Don't become angry at all. So like this, the material world, it will beg for us to question. And if we don't question, how are we different from animals? Therefore, Bhagavatam says, Duli Padapasa. Human beings become two-legged animals, that's all, because the same business is there. Eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. This is all that animals are doing, and we're only doing that, and that's our only pleasure, or you can say our only satisfaction. Then how are we different than animals? They also care for their children. We're different because we have this big brain. We can inquire what's going on here. What about this time? The time just went by 2 minutes. What's happening? We should inquire. And Krishna gives us all the answers in the Bhagavad Gita. That's okay. Everything is there. This is your book. I'm a foreigner. Well, I got this book. You know, what was it? 1968? What is it? How many years ago? 55 almost. 55 years I've been connected with this movement, and this book has changed my whole life. I mean, because I can't see anything wrong with it. And even with the same with Srila Prabhupada. In other words, I was a college graduate, I was in the Navy, I got out. Then I came to Krishna consciousness. And my first impression was, these people are really sincere, but it looks a little sentimental because they're worshiping a human being. My mother told me, never worship a human being, only worship God. So when I came with that kind of mentality, who is this person that you're worshiping? And I was in that mood of challenging. I was, Americans are all puffed up, right? Everybody, all the Americans are proud. We won the war, like that, we're thinking. And so, when I came to Krishna consciousness, I had that same ego. And I was trying to defeat them because I thought it was the same, another edition of Christianity. The Christians said, we have the only truth, but the devotees also say, we have the truth in the Bhagavad Gita. So I had heard of the Bhagavad Gita, and I thought, I don't believe it. I went to the library, and I got 3 or 4 different editions of Bhagavad Gita, and I compared the different important verses and back and forth. And I have to admit that Bhagavad Gita as it is what Krishna is saying. This is what Krishna is saying. Aham sarvasya prabhu. For me, everything is coming like pearls on a thread. Throughout the Gita, Krishna is telling us that he's not an ordinary person like you and me. He's the supreme person. So where else do we find that? The Muslims don't have that kind of information. The Christians don't have it. They have a hazy idea of God. I spoke to some of my Muslim friends, and if you say, well, do you accept that Allah is a person? No, what do you mean a person? Because they think a person means a human being, but a person can be something else besides a human being. Even animals are like persons. They have their own characteristics, their own way of doing things. Like I was taking care of cows for some time. Each cow has a different personality. They get angry, or they're more friendly, or so everyone is a person, but God is not a person? Why not? He's a person, but he's not a person like you and me. He's a person who can be dancing with 16,000 gopis at the same time, and have a palace, in each palace he's there, he can separate himself. He's in everyone's heart. So it's hard for us to get our mind around. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this wonderful philosophy, Achinta Veda Veda Tattva. So what does that mean? Achinta means inconceivable. In other words, we can't just bring Krishna under our microscope and figure out, oh, now we know who he is. The scientists like to do that, right? They want to examine everything, and in this way, they can understand it. But you can't understand Krishna like that. He's not subjected to your microscope or telescope. He's a person who will reveal himself as you surrender. This is what he says. As you try to please him, he'll reciprocate. And so the Bhagavad Gita then is spoken on the battlefield. Why? Because Krishna got involved with the Pandavas. Especially, he didn't like it that Draupadi was insulted. You all know the story. Draupadi was insulted in the assembly. The attempt was to make her naked. But why didn't Bhishma and Drona protect her? Because they didn't. They had to die. What's the deity's name again? Shri Radha Madhav ki. Raghunath Baladev ki. Shri Gaurita ki. Prabhupada ki. So, he's a person. Being a person means who can take the initiative, who has willing, like even the Bible said, what Jesus said, thy will be done. That means that a person has a will, but they don't know what kind of person or what he does or what he looks like. So how can they love? How can you love somebody really if you don't know them? It's difficult. You know, all you know, God is great. Allah. That's not enough to really love. You have to know how he is great and what are some of the great things he's done. Then you can appreciate. He lifted the Govardhan hill. Oh, that's mythology. No. Why? He can lift all the universe. He can't lift one hill with one finger. Why not? This is not mythology. This is a fact. Krishna exhibited these pastimes just to give us a chance to get to know him. Because he's telling we should surrender to him. But who is he? Therefore, Sri Bhagavatam is there also, Brahma telling us more and more about Krishna. People and the hair is there. So much fumes. So, what to speak of when you realize that every heartbeat, you have one less heartbeat. You have a limited number of heartbeats, so every second your life is shortening. But that's also can be discouraging. Unless you understand the philosophy, you're not in the body. When the heart starts beating, doesn't mean you're finished. So this is the first teaching. You change, brother. Who knows the verse better?
बहुत अच्छा
Anyway, I'm talking about learning. When they were mentioning that I was giving Prabhupada massage, it's true. When I came to London, when I was sent to London by Prabhupada, and he came here about a month later, and I was senior brahmachari, so I was giving the services, giving Srila Prabhupada massage every day. So the first day I gave him massage, he liked it vigorous, so I was, trying my best. And when I finished, Prabhupada told me how to go from his head. And on his head we used sandalwood oil, on his body we used mustard seed oil. Bengali oil. Mustard seed. I guess all of India used it. Anyway, so Prabhupada was sitting for massage, he told me, then when I told him when I finished, I said, Prabhupada, I never gave massage today. I want to go to the library now and read about how to give massage. I said, not necessary. You read Bhagavad Gita and Krishna will tell you how to give massage. So Prabhupada has so much faith. In every department. And it's true, I was a student at university when I met the devotees, University of Buffalo, upstate New York. And I went to the temple a few times, I liked it, and I started coming in the morning, but I couldn't come every morning. I was living by myself at an apartment. But I couldn't get up. So I thought, what if I move in the temple, then I can get up every day for sure. Because they get you. Okay, get up. Jeev Jago. I moved in the temple, and I did better in school. I really did. I was living in the temple, and they allowed me to go to school for 6 hours. In the temple, and I was going to the temple programs in the evening. But my grades didn't suffer at all. My point is, Krishna will help you. Make a little sacrifice for Krishna. Everybody's thinking, oh, I have no time. No time to read Bhagavad Gita. I have no time to chant Hare Krishna. But if you make a little time, a little sacrifice from your enjoyment time, serving the internet or whatever you do when you want to relax. Sacrifice a little of that and read Bhagavad Gita, chant Hare Krishna, and you'll find that everything starts getting better and better. It's a fact. For me, personally, I saw that. Materially also, I wasn't a loser. We think, oh, we're going to lose something if we give something to Krishna. We'll lose it, we won't have it. But it's not like that. The more you give to Krishna, the more He's going to take care of you. It's like the children are carefree. Because they know their parents are behind them. They don't have to worry. But the same way, anxiety comes when, 15, 16, you realize that my parents are going to take care of me. A lot of young people commit suicide because there's just too much of it. But if we have a little faith in Krishna, and that faith is cultivated in association with others who are faithful, who are more faithful. Like Prabhupada's being there. If I didn't meet Prabhupada, reading Bhagavad Gita wouldn't have been enough. I had to see an example. And Prabhupada was a perfect example. He was so caring. Like I told you how I like to live in massage. So I was asking Prabhupada, when you leave London, you go back to America, can I go with you to continue the service? So Srila Prabhupada would say, let us see what Krishna wants. But then, I asked him a few times, and he knew I wanted to go with him. So near the end, when he was almost time to leave, his servant came. He said, stop bothering Prabhupada about giving massage. Because another devotee, Penja, Prabhupada has already given him permission to take up the service when Prabhupada lands in America. So, later that day, I was driving him. I was the sewer and chauffeur. So I was driving Prabhupada, and I said to him, he was just here in the car next to me. We were in London, so we drove him on the wrong side of the road over here. Anyway, so I said, Srila Prabhupada Purushottam, he told me that Rupendra's is going to be giving you a massage when you come to America. And Prabhupada responded with silence. 1 second, 2 seconds, completely silent. And then I thought, because he was just this far away, and I spoke very clearly. And I thought, so it must be true. He doesn't want to say anything. It must be true that I'm not going to be able to go with him. So I resigned to that. I accepted it in my heart. Okay, I'm not going to go with him. I'm not going to give up consciousness because of it. So I thought how to break the silence. So I said to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, I never met Rupendra. Is he a nice boy? And Prabhupada could understand my mentality. And he turned to me and he said, not as nice as you. And right in my heart, I thought he loves me. And he did love us, It wasn't artificial. He actually loved everyone. And anybody who was coming to Krishna, of course, he had a special place for that. Krishna says the same thing in the 9th chapter. He's equal to everyone, but one who is his devotee, he gives special attention, which is only natural. Like if you have 3 or 4 children, the littlest one you give more attention to, because they're more dependent on you. Because the 8 or 10-year-olds, you have to watch out for them, but they're a little more self-sufficient. But the same way with Krishna consciousness. The more you surrender and just ready to do whatever Krishna wants, then you oblige him to take care of you, like you take care of the small baby. So why not try it? Take one step at least. A sincere step means a little sacrifice on your side. More than you're doing now. Maybe you're chanting 2 rounds, you'll chant 4 rounds. Maybe you're chanting 16 rounds, you'll chant 20 rounds. Just to try to please Krishna. I'm making this offering for you. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be rounds, it can be anything. Something valuable that you have, you want to donate it. Something that will be a little sacrifice for you. And then you'll see that Krishna will respond. Maybe not immediately, but he'll respond in his own way. When he sees that you're becoming more serious about pleasing him. He's a person. That's our point. The Buddhists and others, they don't think God is a person. We understand he's a person. So he has likes and dislikes. Just like in the Mahabharata. He liked the Pandavas. He didn't like the Dhritarashtra and his sons. Well, because they were envious of the Pandavas. They didn't like him. So they arranged to kill them all. And you know, Gandhari was the wife of Dhritarashtra. She knew this. After the battle, she knew that Krishna was behind the whole thing. You know, her 100 sons were killed. But she was a very smart lady. And very, you can say, austere. Her husband was blind, and so she wore a cloak. Who can do like that? She had so many good qualities, but she was on the wrong side in the battle of Krishna. I mean, Krishna tried to pacify her, but she wasn't an overt devotee like the Pandavas were. And so he sided with the Pandavas. He supported them. And that's his nature. He's equal to everyone because he gives everyone a chance to come to him. He's putting food for everybody. He's inviting, please come. And how is the best way to come to him? Charge, we're not giving a secret mantra to those who are special or something, no. Everybody. Doesn't cost any money. Go on with this chanting. And you'll find that you become purified. Why? Because Krishna's name is not different than him. So the more you immerse yourself in hearing his name, it's like being next to a fire. You don't become Krishna, but you become Krishnized. He's pavitra, he's completely pure. So we keep on making his name close to us. Then we become Krishnized. Means that Maya no longer has a grip on us. What does Maya mean? It's also Krishna's energy. But it's like the superintendent of the prison house. Her job is to keep us away from the spiritual world until we give up being envious of Krishna. So she's very strict about it. And we have to serve by constitution. Either we're serving Maya or Krishna. So why not serve Krishna? Just like, what is it, the Rolling Stone? You heard of that rock group, Rolling Stone? They have one famous song that they sing. Wherever they go, people ask, please, sing this song. What is that called? I can't get no satisfaction, but I try and I try and I try. This is their most popular song. Why? Because everybody can relate to it. And they get together, just like drunks or something, they get together and they all feel happy that everybody's miserable. You're miserable because you're also like, you can't get any satisfaction. And you can't get any satisfaction. And I can't get any satisfaction. So, but if we all sing about it, then we get a little relief. Because misery likes company. And we get rid of it. And this is it. This is the material world. But the devotee, that's the first qualification that we saw in the He was self-satisfied, called Atmarama. He was satisfied in himself. He didn't need us, his disciples. He didn't need us. He accepted our service. He was happy we were assisting him. But his mission was to please his spiritual master and to please Lord Nityananda, Lord Chaitanya. That was his meditation. So, and many people, if possible, if they assisted him, he was happy. But he didn't need them personally. He was satisfied. We sometimes like snuck up on Prabhupada. He was always in bliss. There was no question that he didn't read any verses. You have time? What time? 8:15. Yeah, better read at least one verse for me. Please. One I just did English. But this is talking about the unsuccessful yogi. He may take his birth in the family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly not such a birth is rare in this world. So here Krishna is explaining about the unsuccessful yogi. And we see people come to Krishna consciousness also and they don't last. And I've been doing it for 55 years, right? So there are a lot of people who came and for a while they were with it, but then they went back out. They thought they could find happiness there. So what's their fate? But there's no tragedy, because whatever service they did while they were in Krishna consciousness, that would remain with them. And when they start up, again, maybe next life or next life, of course, Prabhupada was encouraging us to finish up in this life. He was pushing up. Why wait for another birth? But some people will. So here Krishna is describing to them. Purport. Birth in a family of yogis or transcendentalists, those with great wisdom, is praised herein because the child born in such a family receives a spiritual impetus from the very beginning of life. It is especially the case in the Acharya or Goswami family. Such families are very learned, devoted by tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families. Through insufficient education and training. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalists, generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such a family. Fortunately, both are spiritual masters. Om Vishnupad, Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such family. By the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system. The Prabhupada is talking about himself and the spiritual master, how they were fortunate to be born in a family of devotees. So I didn't have that fortune. But still, this process that Lord Chaitanya is giving us is so potent, we can become spiritual master. We can become in harmony with Krishna. That's the qualification to be a spiritual master. Once Prabhupada was giving class, like Bhagavad Gita in the evening, and he said how the spiritual master is the representative of Krishna. And for a moment I saw that Prabhupada was not an ordinary person, like a mystic vision, that Prabhupada was really the representative of Krishna, even though he's sitting only a few feet from him. He's not an ordinary person. I tried a little awareness of that. So next morning I was going to do my service, to give a massage, and I said, Srila Prabhupada, I very much liked your class last night. So Srila Prabhupada said, oh, what part did you like? I said, yes, Srila Prabhupada, the part where you said you were the representative of Krishna. But Prabhupada liked that. He accepted it. He accepted it fully. He understood his position. He was a representative of Krishna. So if somebody called him that, he accepted it. Not in a proud way, but fully. And then he turned it around. And he said to me, you also can be a representative of Krishna. In other words, it's not a secret sect that only certain advanced people can understand. No, everybody can be a representative of Krishna. And he said, he further said, when you say, Prabhupada said, Krishna said, then you're also a representative. So it's not very difficult. Learn a few verses, speak to people about Krishna in his right way, and then you're also representing. Because there are different kinds of gurus. Prabhupada wanted thousands of gurus. But everybody can become one with the Prakash Guru, or the one who introduces people to Krishna. That's also a kind of guru. Just like Guru Maharaj, his mother was like that kind of guru. She told him to go to the forest, etc. So we can all become gurus. Just learn a little Bhagavad Gita and give it to others. Tell them, don't be so much anxiety. Krishna. If you surrender to Krishna, he says, Masuchaha, don't worry. It's a fact. So like this, we can all become transcendentalists. This is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. He picked up sometimes the lower class people, like Sudras and others. They were all qualified to be with him and serve him. And similarly, Srila Prabhupada came to the land of Maya, New York City, and he picked up people, including myself. And I feel eternally indebted to him. How can I leave such a spiritual master who's given me so much? So I think my future is pretty bright because I haven't deviated and I don't intend to deviate. Maybe with your blessings, everybody give me another Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
That should keep me going a few weeks. Thank you very much for your attention, listening to the class so nicely. And I want to keep some time if there's any questions. There should be some questions. You know, sannyasi doesn't come in with later, right? I have some questions. It's okay if you don't have a question. Then my question to you will be, what's your service? You should increase it. Go ahead, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for a very wonderful class. My question is, how to keep our sincerity in Krishna consciousness in long lasting? Sincerity in Krishna consciousness.
That's a good one. How to be sincere. Prabhupada was asked this question. How to be sincere. You know what Radha said? No, it's not a technique. You be sincere by being sincere. Don't try to adjust it and be tricky or something. Just be sincere. People will say, Krishna will recognize. Are you calling for him sincerely? If you just make a show, then Krishna won't lend his ear. But if you sincerely call, like a baby for the mother, the example is given, the baby will be crying. But if he really wants the mother, he'll cry in such a way that the mother will drop everything and run to the child. So that sincerity is there, if we want it. But the problem is we become complacent. We think we're doing fine with our own karma. But karma is going to run out. It's like I was a young man, we had a president of the United States who had wonderful karma. He was young, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, good looking, wealthy, nice family, so many women, but 1 second is all gone. So this is the nature of this world. Like water on a lotus petal. It can roll off in any second. So we should take it seriously. It's not just a joke. We have to reach into our heart and be as sincere as we can. It's there within us. It's not a technique, like Prabhupada said. It's not a technique that you might learn in the IT school. How to do something, how to maneuver something. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord says, Arjuna, you have to follow your prescribed duty, you have to follow your prescribed duty. Arjuna has his prescribed duty, but now I can't understand my prescribed duties. What are my prescribed duties?
Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said,
Follow your prescribed duties.
Prescribed duty. In other words, he was preaching Arjuna, you're a Kshatriya, this is a just war. Why are you talking about leaving the battlefield? This is your duty. So he had a duty, and that was one of the arguments Krishna gave. But at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, what does Krishna say? Sarvadhara Prachaja. Give up all these prescribed duties and just surrender to me. But that's the goal. If the prescribed duties you're taking, like somebody's a husband, he has a duty. He has to maintain his wife and them. That, we don't say give that up. But ultimately, we should come to the point. Yes, so Varnashram is given so that at the end of life, at least, you don't have any other duty except praising Krishna. Serving Krishna. Then you can fully surrender. This is the goal. We want to come gradually to the point of full surrender. That Krishna will do whatever Krishna wants us to do. Even Prabhupada, he was thinking he was going to make a lot of money in the business world. With that money, he was going to preach. But he told him, Krishna had another idea. He took everything away from me, left me with nothing, sent me on a boat, because he couldn't pay for an airplane, sent me on a boat to America with nothing but a box of books and 40 rupees. $8 worth of rupees. So how? Krishna took everything and pushed them out. So we don't know, but how Krishna's going to deal with us. But we should be ready to do whatever he wants, at least by the end of life. We should accept everything favorable. So prescribed duties, if they're favorable, we should do them. If they're unfavorable, like if you have a duty to kill animals because you're a butcher, then we would recommend you give up that duty. Because it's hellish. You're going to get bad karma. But most duties you can do. What is you say you gave up your duty? Or you didn't? He doesn't know his prescribed. You need to approach a guru with that. You know? Your parents don't tell you? I usually get the impression that the parents are over caring about their sons, especially. There's none too loud. This is parents are here. He's my disciple. His parents they want him to get married, and they have a girl, and has to be married from this caste, and so on. So it's like they're too much concerned about his duty and their duty. But you don't have anything, why not live in the temple? You don't have any, the temple will give you duties. I told you I had an experience. I was going to college. I had duties, but the temple accommodated me, and I did better with my prescribed duties. But you don't have any prescribed duties, then you can be full-time brahmachari. Anything else? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So we all come from so many conditioning environment. So we all have so many conditionings. So when we get some service, that we get this feeling that I'm not so qualified because I have a lot of conditioning. So I cannot do this. So we understand that this is also a part of.
Okay, stop. Give me an example of what service you can't do. You can't do this.
Just like our authority wants us to do some things like which we think that I'm not so qualified for that.
You can tell him you don't think you're qualified. And he said, no, that's okay, you can do it. So then you're qualified. Just like I didn't think I was qualified to give massage. I told Brother I want to get a book on it. He said, it's not necessary. So in the same way, you'll find that Krishna will give you intelligence. If your authorities are telling you, then don't be so worried. Just try your best and see what happens. In other words, the key thing is to be sincere, to try to please your superiors. Then they'll be satisfied and you'll be satisfied. Because they'll see that you have the right mentality, and so they can correct you. You're not proud, and you don't get angry with them. Because you say, I did it all right. No, you're open to be corrected. Every child is like that. They're not qualified, but the teachers and the parents, they take the time and they help them learn how to write A, B, C, D. So in the same way, the authorities will help you if you're not qualified. They'll help qualify you. Now this next kirtan. Uska Priya Bhagavad Gita ki. Prabhupada ki. Who's going to sing?
Hare Krishna. So we thanks His Holiness Kirtan Swami Maharaj for delivering such a wonderful class of Bhagavad Gita. Blessing all the devotees there. One time chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. His Holiness Kirtan Swami Maharaj ki. Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Bhagavan Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai.